This is a video review of Pteraiden-Oh from Zyuden Sentai Kyoryuger, and I think this guy's one of my favorites of the entire Kyoryuger line at all. He does have some problems, like he's very back-heavy in robot mode, and you can see his robot mode head in his pterodactyl mode. Those are a bit unfortunate. He also has a bit of parts forming going on where it shouldn't be necessary, but it kind of is for some other stuff the designers wanted him to do. I'll cover that, but for the most part, I really like this guy. Now, his pterodactyl mode, I love this. It has such nice coloring. This gold looks so nice. It contrasts so well with this black and then the gray over here. And this electric blue is just beautiful. I wish you had more of this electric blue on it, because it's such a breath of fresh air. It's such a nice color scheme they have going on this guy. And his wingspan looks awesome. It's super big, super wide, and it's got a really nice shape too. Just the shape of the wings is nice. But then also, every angle looks very dynamic with the wings, because the wings don't come straight out from the body, they come out at an angle like this. So it looks like he's really carrying his own weight while he's flying. So, you know, the wings are static, they don't have any posability. They look very dynamic, so they did a really good job with that, and I really love that. Now, he does have electronics. This switches up here. And if you take his Zyudenryu here, the way you put it in is you have to open his mouth really wide, and this is not a reader in here. It's not a Zyudenryu reader like Gabutira has, so it won't read the pen, so it won't, if you put any Zyudenryu in, it will read it the same way, but it does, he'll make the same noise, basically. So that's been unfortunate that he only makes a noise like that, but he's not quite like Kyoryujin, who interacts with everyone. He just mostly meant to interact with himself, kinda. Although, for Pteraiden-Oh Western with these guys, it would have been nice if he had the Pteraiden-Oh Western jingle, but he doesn't. Now, transform this guy is, for the most part, very neat and very simple, but it does have one problem with it. So do that with the legs, do this with the legs, and then you'll pop this, his hips off of this back, off of these tabs right here from these clips, and then you will tab them on under here, like this. And this does terrify me a little bit, because I have not had much luck with clips lasting very long in my Kyoryuger toys. Like, I've shown a video where I fixed several clips on the back of Kyoryujin here, and then I've had another clip break on the foot of Kyoryujin down here, and so I'm not very convinced that Kyoryuger's clips have any kind of longevity, so that is kind of terrifying. It's very possible that one day I'll go to pick up this guy and play with him, and the legs will fall off, and then that's it. I'll have to fix him, or if I can't fix him, or if it breaks again after I fix him, that's just it. So that is a bit of a worrying point. The reason why they did it like this, rather than just having a massive hinge through his body, which is what I would have preferred, is because the neck here has to go into the body like this, and he has a sound box in here. If he didn't have the sound box, or if the neck were just molded to be in this far, then it would have been a bit different, but of course they had to have the sound box, because it's one of the big figures, and lights, and, well, not lights and sounds, but sounds are one of the big gimmicks of this line, so there's nothing that really could have been done. This is just how you have to live with it. In spite of this fault, I do really like this figure. Next, what you'll do is you'll fold these in, fold his claws to the side, which will expose fists, and then you'll bring the wingtips down to form arms. And what's interesting is that these right here are the same kind of connection joints that all of the other big torso Zyudenryu have for, like, Zakutor or Parasagun or Bunpaki or any of those guys for them to attach to. On Pteraiden-Oh, they form his biceps when you fold his arms out, so that's a great way to get a double use out of these. They can be the biceps and the connection joints for other arms, or they're just part of his normal arms here, and I think that's really clever. I'm going to push this in, spread this out, open up his cheeks here, and then pull up his head crest, and here you have Pteraiden-Oh just by himself. And I love the way this guy looks. He is very well proportioned. He's got very heroic proportions and posture. He looks very nice. I love his paint scheme. He's got that nice gold and black and gray and blue again. He does not have as much as that blue as I would really like. So he does end up looking a little bit dry. I wish he had a bit more of the blue, like on the edge of the wings here, or on his feet down there, or on his legs. That would have made him look so much better. But I am very pleased with how he looks right here. And for posability, the arms go around 360. You can take the arms out to the side like this if you want, but they only ratchet up into this position or down here. Otherwise, they just sort of fall. So not much useful down there. The legs can go forward, one click, and if you push them backwards, the hips will fall off, so don't do that. You can move them out to the side, but the gradation is a bit too big for it to be useful. Like, he is either saying straight up and down, or he's doing the splits, so that posability isn't really useful. He does have a knee joint, which is nice, but again, not really useful because it doesn't have enough hip articulation to really balance with it. And I've already mentioned that he's pretty top-heavy like this, which is unfortunate. One thing that's kind of interesting about this guy is that if he falls back, he's likely to just self-destruct. I'm not going to just let him fall, but what will happen is that to keep him from breaking, his arms and the arms on his arms will just pop off instead of breaking. So sometimes if he falls, like especially a long distance, the arms will self-destruct, his waist will pop off, and then his hips will pop off of his waist too, because it's the same kind of connection. They're meant to come off, so it's not broken if that happens, but it is kind of weird to have a guy who looks so big and solid to just fall apart sometimes. It doesn't usually happen unless he falls a long way, but it is something to watch out for. Especially because with all the weight that these guys introduced to Pteraiden-Oh when we get to Pteraiden-Oh Western, he can't really support his own weight quite as well with these guys. I just don't like the small arm Zyudenryu on this guy. We'll get into that now. This is the first chance I've had to show off Zakutor and Parasagun on my channel. I just haven't had a chance before, so I'm going to be showing these guys off now. I'll also be showing off Pteraiden Kyoryuger Western, because I'm going to have to show you Kyoryuger anyway, to show you Raiden Kyoryuger when Pteraiden-Oh combines with him, so I'm just going to cover all of this at once. So this is Zakutor. He's a raptor, and he looks pretty good. I like this green on him. Pictures had made me think it was more of a dark forest green, but it's actually a bit more vibrant than that, and I do like it. Here is his Judenshi. Brave in. You open his mouth like this. Pop it in. Push the button under here to unlock the sled. Push the sled back, and then his tail will split like this, give you like claws. To turn him into an arm, you'll push that to get the Judenshi out. Fold the thighs up like this, fold the arms up like this, and you got an arm. It's very similar to Bunpaki if you've seen my Plezuan review. Then we have Parasagun, who is almost exactly the same. You pull this down, brave in, push this in, press the button down here, and then Parasagun gets a gun. Now, you see what happened there. Sentai really likes its puns. Anyway, turn him into an arm is the same kind of process. Launch out the Judenshi, fold up the legs, and it's just basically the same. All of these arm guys are very similar. They're actually kind of boring. Now, I was hoping they would have a bit more variety, but anyway, to form Pteraiden-Oh Western, you'll put up his arms like this, fold these forward so you don't see his normal fists, and then you will attach these guys. And it's just the same kind of connection we've seen all throughout Kyoryuger. And I like what this does to his shoulders, because it makes his shoulders really broad, and it does make him look intimidating because he has these huge arm wrestling arms. But it is kind of silly too, because his arms are thicker than his waist. And these do make him even more back heavy than he was before. And with all the extra weight, he's more likely to pop apart than he was before. And if you're just posing him because of all the weight and the leverage that these give, he pops apart even easier. You have to really make a conscious effort to not pop his arms off when you pose them. If you turn his arms forward like this, he's not quite as back heavy, so he will bounce a bit more. And I do like what that does to his shoulders also. It makes the shoulders even more impressive. But one thing that happens here is that, like, his legs can't bear the weight of it. If you start moving around by his legs, which is the only comfortable way to move him around when he has this much bulk on him, then he ends up doing stuff like that, which I guess you could count as a pose, but he just does not. His ratchets are not built really to carry this much weight, which is a shame. I much prefer Pteraiden-Oh with just his normal arms, because with all of this bulk on him, he becomes a bit unwieldy, and it's kind of the problem I have with a lot of the Kyoryuger figures, is that they just have so much bulk and mass on them, it's hard to just pick them up and play with them. This guy is great because you don't have to deal with any of that. You can just pick him up, play with him, and it's good. It's great. He's more convenient than all the other figures. Now, I'm going to show you Kyoryugen Western. I'm going to try to do the Kyoryugen Western jingle. If it doesn't work, oh well. Actually, damn it, before I get to that, I forgot to show you Pteraiden-Oh's transformation jingle. I really like this. You push the button back here. I love that jingle. It sounds awesome. It's part of the reason why I'm willing to forgive the parts for me, because that jingle is just really awesome. Put them off to the side. Now we can get to Kyoryugen Western. I'm going to try to do the jingle. It's really hard to do because the connector ports here are not strong enough on mine to really hold up as much weight as these guys have. So what happens is that while I'm attaching the guys, they just slide out and then it cancels the entire transformation. So I'm going to try once. If it doesn't work, oh well, I've tried this so many times at this point that it's just not going to happen if it doesn't happen this time. So I'll pop out the Zyudenryu. We'll start the reading process after we turn them on. So we start with Parasagun, because he's going to be this arm. We'll put the Zyudenryu back into Parasagun. Then we'll take Zakutor. Then we'll put in Gabutera at the very end. And this entire process of reading Zyudenryu is just so annoying. I hate this. Then we'll press this to start the combination sequence. And then we'll try and put in Zakutor. And then we'll press this button right here. And that's his Western jingle. And what I'm talking about with the arms coming off is, watch what happens to this arm right here. Yeah, that happened so often when I was trying to shoot this in previous takes, and it would just screw up the entire thing, because when that happens, you have to start over from the beginning, and it just sucks. And this is Kyoryugen Western. Now to get into Raiden Kyoryujin Western, I guess, we need to take off Kyoryugin's helmet, take off his cape here, put away his helmet, and then we'll put him off to the side for now, and we'll get back to him after we do some stuff with Pteraiden-Oh. So for Pteraiden-Oh, we're basically taking him back to the pterodactyl mode, except we're taking off his head here. We're closing this up, pulling this stuff out, popping this off, bring these around, clip them into the wings, and then one thing you want to do is you have these little tabs right here that can fold up in a way. You want to make sure those are pointing down. Normally I have those pointing down because otherwise he just kind of rocks. But with those down, he will stay flat on the ground in pterodactyl mode. Like if you have them up, then he's just sitting on these tabs right here, and then he just sort of wobbles a lot. So I usually have them down, but if they're not down on yours, make sure they're down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take Kyoryugin's tail here, and we're going to tab it onto the back like this. And the reason for this is because Pteraiden-Oh is very heavy for the clips that we're going to be using to attach him to Kyoryugin, and so he needs this as an upraise to help keep him upright, keep him from popping off. And then using these tabs right here, they'll go into these clips on his back. Pop them in like this, and then here we can see what it adds to Kyoryugin. He gets an awesome wingspan, an awesome color scheme addition from Pteraiden-Oh. I would actually prefer Kyoryujin's normal arms to this, but I'm using the Western arms just to show you. Then you take Pteraiden-Oh's head here, and then there's a little tab right here that goes into the top of Kyoryujin's head. It's kind of hard getting this in because you can't really see exactly where the tab is, and it's just kind of awkward because also Kyoryujin's head will move back and forth. Just need to fiddle with it until you find exactly the place, and then you will open the mouth of the helmet. Now you cannot see Kyoryujin's head right here. That's because the beak comes down so far, and because it's such a cumbersome mess, I'm going to lower the camera so you can actually see his face here. So there you can see his face. I really like this combination because it gives him a huge wingspan, and it makes him look even more impressive. It gives him a really impressive silhouette. For a long time I was not convinced I would like this combination because Kyoryujin already had a cape, and this just added kind of a slightly wider cape, and because he has such wide shoulders anyway, it didn't really affect his silhouette. That's what I got from watching reviews of this guy. In person, it affects his silhouette so much because you can actually see it in 3D because our eyes are stereoscopic, but this camera is just monoscopic. In person, it's just really nice. You can see it adds quite a bit of thickness. From the side, it's not as nice as I would prefer because it's so thick, it doesn't look like the wings are really attached to his body. From the back, it looks nice because you see all of Pteraiden-Oh's wingspan. I, for the most part, just really like this combination. It's really cool, and it's probably the combination I prefer the second. Because Bakuretsu Kyoryujin is just the most amazing combination I've ever seen. I certainly prefer it over the combination with Bragio, because that combination kind of sucks. I'll get to that in a little bit. Now, the last thing I want to show is that this guy does have a transformation noise for Raiden Kyoryujin. The same button that you used for Pteraiden-Oh's transformation noise, you want to hold it down this time. And I don't like it quite as much as just the Pteraiden-Oh transformation noise, but it is there. So anyway, this has been a video review of Pteraiden-Oh with Pteraiden-Oh Western with Zakutor and Parasagun, Kyoryujin Western, and Raiden Kyoryujin. Just lots of combinations here that I've just sort of pulled together just after getting a couple of things. So that is one nice thing about Kyoryujin, is just you get so many options after a while, even though I'm not quite a fan of these arms. So anyway, if you enjoyed watching this, I review Power Rangers, Digimon, Transformers, lots of stuff like that. Please subscribe if any of that sounds interesting. And we have lots of Facebook links and playlists in the video description. Check those out if they look interesting. And thank you for watching.